It's the beginning of a new month and what would typically be your piping hot monthly Bitcoin digest. Today instead, I am going to deep dive into some of the very alarming recent happenings around privacy and how the US seems to be on a warpath against you and your financial privacy. What happened? What does this mean for you? What might we see going forward? Today we discuss. Let's jump in. This video is made possible by Bitcoin trading cards, and I am pumped to have them as the first sponsor on my channel. I met Aladdin and the team back at Pacific Bitcoin 2022, and I'm not gonna lie, at the time I thought, okay, cool, a quirky little Bitcoin project, but little could I have imagined at the time how this project would capture imaginations. I've personally used these to orange pill people that I care about in my life. The art is stunning and features Bitcoin artists all around the world. You get high quality Bitcoin education on topics like economics and freedom as part of that, which makes this, as you can imagine, a really special project for me. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes you want to collect these. The community behind this is also truly insane. And I think they have a real shot at bringing Bitcoin to the mainstream. So if you're curious to check them out, head over to btc-tc.com where you can find the different series they've launched. And hey, if you do end up snagging some cards, you'll also get some Bitcoin rewards back on your purchase, powered by Jolts. Here's to ripping packs and stacking sats. So to be clear, as the incumbent, right, as the largely controller of the global financial system, the US is not new to pursuing legal actions against anything that could wrestle control from their tyrannical clutches, right? We see ongoing lawsuits against Binance. We see ongoing lawsuits against Coinbase. Consensus received a Wells notice just on April 10th. For their MetaMask product. And again, you may say, well, MetaMask, right? They earn fees from staking, and so there's some stickiness there. But what has happened most recently is nothing short of alarming. And that is the arrest of the co-founders of Samourai Wallet. On this channel, I have done a number of videos and tutorials on Samourai Wallet, and I know many of you watching have either watched those videos, maybe have used their products, etc. And so what happened? Well, Keon and William, again, co-founders of Samourai, they were arrested on charges of operating an unlicensed money transmitter business, as well as the conspiracy to commit money laundering, which together carry a max prison time of, I think, 25 years. So Samourai Wallet is gone, right? Like, you cannot download it anymore. If you go to their website, it has been seized, as you can see, by the authorities. You cannot even use Whirlpool in something like Sparrow Wallet because the Whirlpool server has been confiscated by the feds as well. Side note, which is alarming because I'm pretty sure it was hosted in Iceland, which has a long track record of respecting people's privacy. Now, to be fair, those of you that have followed the Samourai Wallet team on Twitter, now X, you know that they haven't really done themselves favors. They have at various points in time posted things which, again, I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to post these things, right, if freedom of speech mattered at all, but they didn't do themselves favors, right? They were inviting Russian oligarchs to come and, use the Samourai Wallet. By the way, for those of you that are completely new to this concept of what is a mixing service, I've done other videos on this channel that I would invite you to take a look at, go into the depths of how that all works. You can find that in my privacy focused playlist. But let's put to the side for the moment the charge around conspiracy to launder money. One of the claims there is that some of the funds from the Silk Road website, ultimately found their way into Whirlpool. There's a claim that other illicit funds were involved. Who knows what the truth is there, but let's even put that to the side and let's focus specifically on the charge around operating an unlicensed money transmitting business, because this is where things get extremely concerning. Now, it is true that the Whirlpool server is a centralized server, meaning participants are contributing UTXOs, and there is a central server that is being used to conduct these mixes, to conduct these rounds of CoinJoin transactions. There was, by the way, an effort underway to decentralize that and enable other people to create and plug in their own CoinJoin coordinators. But even despite that, given how the tech works, at no point in time does Samourai Wallet have full control over your funds, right? The wallet itself is non-custodial. You are in control of your keys. And that's why this is concerning. For some great analysis on this subject, I'm going to be referencing this article from Peter Van Valkenburg. If you're not following him on Twitter, he is the very best for these types of topics. He's from Coin Center. And in this piece, he goes through the reasonably clear precedent that we have from FinCEN. And FinCEN is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. So this is a government agency within the United States government. They are tasked with collecting, analyzing information about financial transactions in order to combat domestic and international money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes. And so even before the days of cryptocurrency, the anti-money laundering rules were pretty clear. An implied requirement is of a money transmitter is an entity that has full control over the funds. And there's some squishiness with some of the wording that they use, right? Funds versus currency versus value and some of these things, which Peter gets into. But suffice it to say that in 2013, we got the first reasonably clear guidance from FinCEN, who released its first virtual currency, as they called it, guidance. And critically, as you can see in this bold text, they stated that the production and distribution of software in and of itself does not constitute acceptance and transmission of value, even if the purpose of the software is to facilitate the sale of virtual currency. Okay, so pretty clear, right? The mere creation and distribution of software does not in and of itself constitute, a money transmitter sort of business. Then later in 2019, they further clarified that the person participating in the transaction to provide additional validation at the request of the owner does not have total independent control over the value. This is in relation to things like multi-sig wallets, time-locked contracts like what's used in the Lightning Network, right? So these were additional areas that were a little bit fuzzy still. But here, again, FinCEN is making it pretty clear that you have to have total independent control over the value to constitute being a money transmitter business. And so, by an objective analysis of how the Samourai tech works, they would not have met that requirement. And so the DOJ, Department of Justice, is bringing a very different interpretation versus what this other government agency has basically made a precedent for the last decade plus. But wait, there's more. Some of you may remember the Tornado Cash case. So Tornado Cash is another mixing tool, and the main developer behind that, Roman, was arrested and has since filed a motion for the case to be dismissed. And on the same day that we had the news around Samourai, we also got the DOJ's published response to the motion to dismiss the Tornado Cash case. And some of the claims and accusations and interpretation of law that they are putting forth is truly earth-shatteringly insane. Let's look at some of the excerpts packaged in this nice thread from Seth for Privacy. So first of all, it basically blatantly states, hey, we don't give a crap about the FinCEN's guidance, saying that it is not a regulation or rule and has no authoritative effect. So the DOJ just coming full guns blazing, saying we don't care what the precedent is, we're going to make it up as we go. Secondly, there's this excerpt, which some additional context in this piece is probably helpful. But what they're essentially saying here is that open source verifiability of software doesn't matter at all, right? They're saying that even though this is open source and verifiable and people can go in and with their own eyes see what's happening and what's not happening, it doesn't matter, right? They could have modified it. They could have changed it to do something, right? This is crazy. You're accusing someone of potentially doing something. Here's another piece, and this is absolutely critical. The DOJ spent a lot of time referring to Section 1960, which is referring to the section of the criminal code that makes it illegal to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business. And as you can see, this is just critical. Look at this. The definition of, quote, money transmitting in Section 1960 does not require the money transmitter to have, quote, control of the funds being transferred. The definition extends to transferring funds on behalf of the public by any and all means. So that's insane, right? That means that the designation of custodial versus non-custodial doesn't actually matter. So any wallet that you're using would need to be a licensed money transmitter. You yourself running a node would need to be a licensed money transmitter. LSPs or Lightning Service Providers, all of them would need to be licensed money transmitters under this interpretation. And again, they go on in that piece to argue that the Tornado Cash developers are culpable because the Tornado Cash software, quote, caused cryptocurrency to pass from one place to another on the Ethereum blockchain. Tornado Cash is an Ethereum tool, or was an Ethereum tool, every time a customer requested a deposit or withdrawal. So again, every wallet, every smart contract, all of them are unlicensed money transmitters. And then if that wasn't enough, the FBI went ahead and published this bulletin, a public service announcement warning Americans against using cryptocurrency money transmitting services that are not registered as money service businesses. And they say here later on, cryptocurrency money transmitting services that purposefully break the law or knowingly facilitate illegal transactions will be investigated by law enforcement. Using a service that does not comply with its legal obligations may put you at risk of losing access to funds after law enforcement operations target those businesses. And so as a result of this, a number of wallets are ceasing operations in the United States. That includes things like Phoenix Wallet, which again is a non-custodial wallet, right? So you're like, well, surely what is going on here? But really what it's down to is they are concerned that the channels, the Lightning channels they're opening with American citizens could eventually be, construed as whatever, money transmitting under some of these broad allegations. So Phoenix is moving out. Wasabi Wallet is exiting the U.S. market. Again, both discontinuing services for U.S. customers, and they are both self-custodial, non-custodial wallets. And just in the last basically 24 hours between shooting this and editing this, Wasabi has announced the complete shutdown of its coordinator server. So that's gone, right? So Whirlpool's gone, Wasabi's gone. Truly your only option now is what I'm about to discuss in a moment with Join Market. Okay, so what happens next? To be clear, this is a assertion, right, from the DOJ. This is not law. This has not been upheld in any court of law. So it will be absolutely critical to see how these cases unfold, both the Tornado Cash case as well as the Samourai wallet case. Because as we saw, the DOJ's position on these cases is one, fundamentally different than all the precedent that has come before us for the last decade. So this is not just another, oh, look at the government doing government things. This is a departure from even that. And secondly, as we discussed, given the language that they're proposing, this would have truly and utterly massive implications for what's considered a money transmitting business. So I will be tracking this stuff. Make sure you're subscribed, right? This really is important. Number go up, start of the bull run, prices down a little bit. We have runes, we have meme coin stuff. Like all of that pales in comparison to this. You have an essential right to privacy, and you certainly have a right to do with your property as you will, and you have the right to speech, which software is. And oh, by the way, I know a lot of this is obviously very US-centric in nature, but make no mistake, if you are outside the US, they are coming for you as well. This is what typically happens with financial-related regulations. The US is often a starter, Europe sometimes as well. and then it sort of propagates elsewhere. I'm not saying everywhere is going to be as authoritarian and tyrannical as the US. That's probably unlikely. But again, you do want to be keeping an eye on some of this stuff no matter where you are. So we'll see what happens with these cases. But then also, what can you do in the interim? Maybe you are using Samourai Wallet. One of the things you can do if you were using Samourai Wallet and now you want to basically restore that wallet elsewhere, you can restore it into Sparrow Wallet. I will link this guide on how you can do that. I might do a video on that as well. If there's interest in that, just let me know in the comments down below. But the reason this is important is if you are using Samourai Wallet and you were using the mixing service, basically what happens is it uses different derivation paths within your wallet to do the pre-mixing, your post-mixing, all that sort of stuff. And so it's really important to make sure that you have access to all your funds in the correct way to restore that wallet to something like Sparrow, which also supports the same derivation paths. And again, what I mean by that is if you've used Sparrow, if you've watched my video on that, to use Whirlpool and Sparrow, you'll see that you get additional tabs that get created, deposit, pre-mix, post-mix, all that sort of stuff. So there's a guide if you are directly affected and you want to migrate your wallet to a different software other than Samourai. However, keep in mind, you will not be able to use Whirlpool even in Sparrow. That server is gone. Secondly, if you're like, well, okay, either I was or I wasn't, but like, what do I do from kind of a privacy standpoint? Keep in mind, there is Join Market. So Join Market is a tool, and it has recently had a big facelift in terms of the UX. I did a video on that a while ago when the alpha was coming out very, very early on. So I will likely do a follow-up video on that. Again, be sure you're subscribed. But Join Market, instead of the use of a centralized coordinating server, like in the case of Samourai Wallet's Whirlpool or Wasabi Wallet's Wabi-Sabi implementation, Join Market is basically like a peer-to-peer place where people can come together and participate collaboratively in CoinJoin transactions. All that means is that they're taking, half a Bitcoin from here, half a Bitcoin from here, half a Bitcoin from here. All these users are pooling their funds together, and it's doing, some additional pieces behind the scenes. But that would be your best option at this point. Obviously, there are also privacy-centric cryptocurrencies like Monero, which have great privacy by default. Keep in mind the Liquid sidechain on Bitcoin also has really, really strong privacy guarantees. I just did a tutorial on the Aqua wallet, which is a mobile wallet that supports on-chain Bitcoin, Lightning, and Liquid. So again, Liquid definitely deserves a shout out in all of this. But that's about that. So again, this will be an ongoing story that unfolds over the coming weeks and months. But I'm curious to hear, what are your thoughts on these alarming developments? No doubt this could end up being a bit of a nothing burger in terms of both cases ultimately getting dismissed and the DOJ's absurd allegations and assertions being dumped in a court of law. That could still happen. But again, I'm just looking at the trajectory of how all of this is trending over time and how much more tyrannical the federal US government has gotten over time, even over the last couple of years. It is no doubt concerning, and I think it is time to take all of this very seriously. But I'm curious to hear what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I hope you found this valuable and insightful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Use the share feature underneath this video. This is the type of thing that really is important to make sure people understand just how insane some of what's happening is. And if you were so enamored with this content, you want to donate to a pleb, which really does help me continue to make these videos. You can do so in a number of ways. You can donate through the Super Thanks feature built directly into YouTube, or you can zip some sats my way over the Lightning Network to my Lightning address, me at www.ianmajor.xyz, or alternatively, ragermajor@getalby.com. For those of you that want to get in touch with me, maybe you have deeper questions about all of this and all the crazy stuff happening with privacy. You want to talk about privacy best practices. You want to talk about taking self-custody, multi-sig, running a node, any of that and more, I'm now working with a number of clients one-on-one. You can reach out to me at vita.io/Ian Major, and that is a good way to get in touch with me if you want some additional hand-holding or want to go deeper on any of these topics. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave things here. As a reminder, every sack counts. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you then.